You know that feeling. You log into your analytics, you see this huge spike in traffic, and you're thinking, yes, we're killing it. But then you look at the revenue, and it's just flat. Where's the disconnect? Well, you are definitely not alone. And today, we're going to talk about the framework that's built to fix exactly that problem. It's called the SEO funnel, and it's all about turning those clicks into actual cash. I mean, this is the million-dollar question, right? It's probably one of the biggest frustrations in all of content marketing. You do everything you're supposed to do, you find the right keywords, you create great content, you get the rankings, the clicks start rolling in, but the sales needle, it just doesn't budge. So what gives? And this quote really just hits the nail on the head. For most strategies, traffic is the finish line. And that's the core of the problem. Your amazing content ends up being a destination, like a final stop on a bus tour. A visitor gets off the bus, they look around, they read your article, and then they get right back on and leave. Why? Because you haven't built a bridge from where they are, from their curiosity to where you want them to go, your solution. Okay, so here's the game plan for this explainer. We're going to kick things off by really digging into that traffic without leads problem. Then, I'll introduce you to the SEO funnel. After that, we get into the fun stuff, the actual step-by-step process for building one. We'll also cover the major mistakes that can totally wreck your funnel. And finally, we'll talk about how to measure success, so you know it's actually working. All right, let's jump right in with section 1, the traffic without leads problem. And I love this subtitle, the leaky bucket of content, because it's such a perfect way to visualize what's happening on so many sites. Seriously, picture this. You're working so hard, spending all this time, effort, and maybe even money to fill up this bucket with water. And that water, that's your valuable traffic. But your bucket is just riddled with holes. So the water pours in the top and immediately leaks right out the bottom. That's what's happening. Your content is doing its job. It's getting people to your site. But without a system in place to guide them, to tell them what to do next, all that precious attention just vanishes the second they finish reading. So how do we plug those leaks? Well, that brings us to our solution. We need a framework that's built from the ground up for one thing, conversion. And that is the SEO funnel. So what is an SEO funnel exactly? Think of it as a carefully constructed path. It's a system that's designed to meet people exactly where they are in their journey, and then guide them step by step from that very first question they type into a search bar, all the way to becoming your customer. And the best part? It does all of this using only your organic content. Okay, this table breaks it all down perfectly. The funnel has 3 main stages. At the top of the funnel, we call it tofu, people are just in awareness mode. They're asking what is questions. Your only goal here is to educate them and start building trust. Then you've got the middle of the funnel, or MOFU. Now they're in consideration mode. They're comparing, asking which is better. Your job is to help them evaluate their options. And finally, at the bottom of the funnel, or BOFU, they've reached the decision stage. They're searching for things like pricing or buy now. At this point, your goal is simple. Remove any friction and make it incredibly easy for them to convert. Now, it's super important to understand that an SEO funnel isn't the same as your traditional marketing funnel. A traditional funnel is broad. It covers everything: social media, email, paid ads, the whole shebang. The SEO funnel, though, is a specialist. It's laser-focused on one thing and one thing only: search intent. And that's a bigger deal than ever, because search doesn't just mean Google anymore. It now includes AI search tools like ChatGPT and Perplexity, which are creating completely new ways for people to find answers and enter your funnel. Okay, so the theory is cool and all, but let's get our hands dirty. How do you actually build one of these? Well, here is your actionable step-by-step blueprint. So there are 5 key steps. First, you map out the actual questions your buyers have at each stage of their journey. Then you do your keyword research to find out how they're asking those questions. Step 3 is creating content that perfectly matches that intent. So you write an educational post for a top-of-funnel question, a comparison guide for a middle-of-funnel question, and so on. Step 4 is all about building the internal links that guide people through the funnel. And finally, step 5 is optimizing for those new AI entry points, because these AI tools absolutely love well-structured, interconnected content. Okay, I really want to double-click on step 4 here, because this is everything. Internal linking isn't just a step, it is the engine of the entire funnel. Without it, you don't have a funnel at all. What you have is just a random collection of articles. The links, they are what turn those dead ends into actual pathways. And this shows you exactly how that logic works. From your top-of-funnel awareness content, you create links that point down to other helpful posts, but also, and this is key, you link to a middle-of-funnel comparison guide. Then, from that consideration content, you're going to link down to your bottom-of-funnel pages like pricing or a demo request. But look at that last point. You also link back to foundational posts. That is so smart, because not everyone's journey is a straight line. This creates a complete loop, guiding people forward, but also letting them step back for more info as they need it. Now, building this system is one thing, but keeping it from breaking is another. It's actually surprisingly easy to mess this up. So let's talk about the big, common mistakes you absolutely need to avoid. Okay, mistake number 1. This is probably the one I see most often, and it's called the tofu-only funnel. This is where a business has an amazing blog, maybe hundreds of articles, all bringing in tons of top-of-funnel traffic, but they've never built the next steps. There are no comparison guides, no case studies, no pricing pages. There's literally nowhere for all that traffic to go to take the next step towards becoming a customer. All right, number 2, this mistake can kill the trust you're trying to build in a split second. It's using mismatched calls to action. You know when you're reading a really helpful, educational what is article and at the bottom there's a giant buy now button screaming at you? It's jarring. It's like asking for a marriage proposal on the first date. It's just way too much, way too soon. The ask has to match where the person is in their journey. And the third big mistake, and this one's so important it's worth saying again, is creating pages that are dead ends. If a visitor lands on one of your pages and there are no links leading them anywhere else, you haven't created a step in a funnel, you've created an island. Remember, a funnel needs bridges, those internal links to connect everything together into one seamless path. Okay, so you've built the whole thing. The crucial question now is, how do you even know if it's working? Well, this means we have to completely rethink how we measure success. It's time to move past the vanity metrics and focus on what actually drives results. Just look at this chart. This is a story I see all the time. Everyone's high-fiving over that giant traffic number, but they're completely ignoring that tiny little conversion rate. Here's a phrase to remember. Traffic is vanity, conversions are sanity. The real health of your funnel isn't about how many people you can get in the door, it's about how many people you can guide all the way to the end. And I really want to leave you with this thought because it's so powerful. The solution to your revenue problem probably isn't churning out another dozen blog posts. More often than not, your best content is already on your site. It's just sitting there on an island. It just needs a funnel to flow through. So as we wrap this up, I want you to think about your own website. Go ahead, pull up your analytics right now, and look at your most popular blog post. Ask yourself, where does this page lead? What is the next logical step for the reader? And if the answer is, well, nowhere, then you know exactly where you need to start. So my question for you is, what's the first bridge you're going to build?